What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our top head coaches on the hot seat at the end of 2021. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, we have finally reached the end of the 2021 NFL season. We have 1 week to go and a lot has transpired. A lot of questions are surrounding a lot of head coaches. And Nick, I'm going to rattle off a few names. Let me know if you think any of these coaches will be fired. All right, so let's start off with Chicago Bears head coach Matt Nagy.
Oh my God, I hope so. This guy should have been fired years ago. I don't know how he's still on the team. For him to have been on this team and for him to have coached Justin Fields for an entire season, I'm sorry, Justin. I apologize on behalf of every other NFL fan. You did not deserve this. Matt Nagy is one of the worst coaches I've ever seen in the NFL altogether. And yeah, he put together some wins, but the dude literally cannot coach anybody, and he does not deserve to be on an NFL team. This is long overdue. He will be off the Chicago Bears very, very soon.
Strong words for Matt Nagy. I don't think he doesn't know how to coach. I think he just doesn't know how to be a head coach.
I'd rather have Adam Gase.
Well, all right. Well, he said it, not me. When you blast the comments, remember I didn't say it, okay? Next up, we have Mike Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer, he's been up and down, and he was a great defensive coordinator for a long time, but a lot of that defensive prowess that he brought over from Cincinnati seems to have just faded by the wayside. That defense is one of the worst in the NFL. That secondary is abysmal and has been torched for weeks now. There is nothing that Mike Zimmer can do at this point to really save his job. I really believe that he'll be out very soon. There's too much talent on this Vikings roster that is being wasted right now. Kirk Cousins is under contract one more year. You've got to see what this roster can do under a new regime. See if they can really compete against the Packers and take on the rest of the NFC, because you really can't let a lot of these weapons fall by the wayside. It's talent that will just walk out the door eventually.
How about Vic Fangio out in Denver?
Vic Fangio is an interesting one because there's a lot of controversy of, is it the quarterback play or is it the coaching system? And we've seen the defense play really strong. We've seen the offensive line get improved over the last couple of years through homegrown talent, which means, to me at least, that their coaching staff is improving the way that their players are performing. And that's what you want. But is it at the rate at which it should be happening? And I think that's what we need to question. It's been a little bit slow, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of offensive talent to the point where you bring in Teddy Bridgewater. He's an average quarterback, but he should be able to excel extremely well with the roster around him. And I just didn't see that. I think that Vic Fangio, he'll be a good coordinator when he gets another opportunity, but as a head coach, I just don't think that suits him very well.
This is an interesting one. How about Matt Rhule out in Carolina?
Yeah, I like Matt Rhule. I think he's a very aggressive coach, especially offensively. And that's where he made his bread and butter in college. And he's trying to incorporate that college style in the NFL. We've seen that with other guys like Cliff Kingsbury, where it just takes a while. And Matt Rhule, in his second year as the head coach, he definitely deserves to come back and prove himself a little bit more. He's got a great defensive roster that he's working with, and him being an offensive coach, maybe if he can get a franchise quarterback in there this offseason, that'll change everything. You've got Christian McCaffrey, need him to be there all year. DJ Moore, this was a contract year. You got to see if he comes back, because that's a big weapon in this offense. So Matt Rhule, he's got some guys to work with if they do decide to return, and he's got to figure out the quarterback situation. I think they could be set up for success under under Rhule, I think he just needs 1 to 2 more seasons to really be given the opportunity.
And probably a healthy CMC would go a long way as well, but that's neither here nor there. All right, final one. Pete Carroll out in Seattle with the Seahawks.
Pete Carroll, he's been a great coach for a long time, and it just seems like everything has been falling apart lately, and it started last offseason with the rumors of Russ not wanting to be there because they're not getting players in-house that he needs to be competitive, especially on that offensive line. And Pete Carroll's part of the problem. He's part of the reason that they didn't make those improvements. They go get a guy like Jamal Adams who doesn't play that well, and he's been injured a lot this season, not helping them at all. So you got to really question Pete Carroll and his decision making there and then on the field. He's forcing Russell Wilson to come back early from injury, and the team just continues to play abysmal, ruining Russell Wilson's career and his, what his legacy is going to be. I think that's a huge impact on him. So I think with everything that has been caused in that locker room, it has to be stemmed by Pete Carroll, and he's someone who needs to be looked at as maybe it's time for him to go, and maybe he needs to find a new place to be a head coach. But I don't know if Seattle's the place. That's a little bit tricky. I'm not sold that he will be fired, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not high on Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll is just one of those guys that had a really good team. When you take a look at Richard Sherman at cornerback and Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner and Michael Bennett and literally the Legion of Boom. Yeah, and then you got a young Russell Wilson who just fell in your lap in the 3rd round, and that helped out a lot, especially with Golden Tate being there and the offense that you had with Marshawn Lynch running the ball. He made poor decisions with that entire roster, and that's why it fell apart. He could have held it together for a couple more years, and things just did not pan out that well. So I don't like Pete Carroll all that much. I think he's way too much of a player's coach. I think he needs to be more of a disciplinarian. He needs to be more of an actual coach instead of a best friend to the players. But that's my opinion. I think he should be fired, but I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below which coaches you believe will be fired. Let us know which coaches you think should be fired. And if we didn't think about anybody, let us know in the comments down below as well. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.